We're here. Andre, and I'm on my, what do you call, SteamYard.
StreamYard, yes.
I did get a complaint my first time. This is my second time. People were saying that I put the bars, the banners, and it was covering our faces. So I'm just getting used to it. But thank you guys for your comments. Hi. Linda, Brazil, Irene, Hills, Dwight. So we got our favorite guy here, sweetie, darling, Lulu. So how you doing? Now listen, according to other astrologers, today is supposed to be the end of the world.
Right.
Thus far, it's 1:34 p.m. on the Pacific Coast. Nothing has happened.
Well, it's windy outside, but yeah, I know. Well, they're banking on it's a Saturn-Mars conjunction. There's a Saturn-Mars conjunction in the sky, and yeah, Saturn-Mars conjunction is significant. It means something, and especially if it catches your chart in a certain way. But to extend that to the end of the world, or even to, making it into a really meaningful thing today. Like people are always doing this with astrology. They look way in and they try to say, well, it's today. It's more of a range. Like this whole period, Saturn-Mars is why Putin has run into a brick wall. But he didn't run into a brick wall today. He's been running into a brick wall for the last couple of weeks when his initiative, started not to work. That's part of that conjunction.
Right.
So, maybe we'll hear something today. Maybe we won't.
They did get satellite image of the people that were murdered.
Yeah, well, that's true.
They said it wasn't us. This is staged. Well, they have satellite image of the Russians killing people.
Right. Although that doesn't mean it's going to get into their news streams, because that's what he does. He spends morning, night, and evening and every possible moment blocking the flow of information. So I know we know about it, but
right.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. So listen, does Putin's chart look like Trump? Like he'll come to a point where he no longer can get away with everything?
Yeah. Putin's chart is not doing well, which is why he didn't get his wish. If it were doing well, then he would have walked in 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, whatever. It's not set up for that. But the problem is that it's going to take time because bigger cycles have to kick in. One is, for example, mid-May to November is not good for Putin.
Right.
So that starts to complicate things. But really, Putin doesn't get into major trouble until next spring when Saturn shifts signs, because then it's even more pressure, more misalignments. But none of it is set up for him to succeed in any kind of long-term way, right?
Yeah.
And so in that way, yeah, similar to Trump in that these two are great at making moves.
And they always get away with, that's the thing you were saying about Trump. The days of him getting away, Putin, they said, don't you dare use gas or whatever, chemicals. And he did anyway, and there was no repercussions.
Yeah, but you know what? No repercussions yet. It's always like that, right? I mean, sure, he's done some things, but this isn't working well. Russia has taken a big step back in their, economic status, and which will affect people in a very real way. And, these aren't people, these are countries. So when there's a crisis, yeah, sometimes it ends overnight, but usually it takes a while. Things have to chip away. Look at Trump now, right? Trump has been, getting away, but they're moving into him. You can see it.
I can feel it.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole point is, what you want to ask is, would you want to be in his shoes? With all this exposure? No, only a crazy person would say, yeah, I can get away with it. I can just talk to my MAGA people and they'll save me. Yeah, maybe, but maybe not,
Well, you were talking April, May. Ooh,
yeah.
The wind's really blowing out there too.
Mm-hmm.
I think my overhead thing's going to come in. It's got a thing that if it's too windy, it'll come back in.
As long as it keeps the internet connection, as long as we don't lose our internet connection, we should be okay.
Yeah. Well, right now we look good. But here's the thing. If the stuff that's coming up, he likes to think that his word is the word. In the next couple of months, and you said April, May for Trump.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You said it's going to
Yeah, there's a conjunction. You know, I mentioned Saturn Mars. That's the astrologer saying end of the world, all that stuff. The conjunction that Trump really has a problem with is the Jupiter Neptune conjunction, which is due to happen like next week. That's coalescing around his legal issues. And then there's a ramp up that goes solidly into July that is not good for him. It gets worse and worse and worse, which I find a little weird because it's an uptick for Liz Cheney. Liz Cheney is his main enemy in this. She's the one, in a lot of ways, she's running that committee.
She
So
sure is.
it's strange to see her energy going up, 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 while Trump is getting majorly confronted, right?
Right.
And the other thing, by the way, is that I don't know what you feel about this, but this Ukraine development has been very bad for Trump because Trump functions through messaging and BS, literally. And he kept saying, oh, Putin, great guy, you know, fabulous. When you start seeing dead bodies, that's why Putin is now 90% of Americans are against Putin. So how do you do both of those? Like, you've got this figure who says, well, Putin is okay. You can't win elections when 90% of the public is in a certain place, even if they forgive you. It's too complicated. So Trump, you can see that he's losing power. You know, it's going down.
Yeah.
But you got to be patient. I mean, everybody's saying, why isn't it yet? Why hasn't he been, you know, it takes time.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And Merrick Garland is actually going to do something about him.
Well, notice that I had put a video in early February saying end of February. And then what happened was that judge said something, and then some other person said something. And then Merrick Garland, finally, we heard, okay, now he's hired 100 prosecutors. That's
right.
Merrick
And
Garland.
Biden just said, and they're releasing a private conversation, but he said, I wish he would quit acting like a judge and act like a attorney.
Yes. Yeah. So that's more than we had heard for quite a while because it was also secret. Now we even know that Biden is a little bit impatient too. So
right. But he's a good old Scorpio.
Yeah, I mean, but
by the way, everybody said he'll be dead by today or tomorrow.
Biden, I know. Well, you know, because they're reading it. To my understanding, it's been read incorrectly. They're reading Saturn, right? But they're not looking carefully enough that the place where Saturn is hitting in his chart is very strong. So, of course, he's under stress. Wouldn't you be under stress if you were trying to manage?
Oh God, yeah.
The domestic thing, and then this thug in Ukraine, and I mean, U.S. presidents, they're always got some Saturn going on.
Right.
To then call for his demise, I don't know. That's
right. Thanks, Peggy. Somebody asked, is there a good book you can recommend? Astrology book, maybe even like for beginners.
If you're talking about for learning astrology or for entertainment, what are you asking about?
For learning astrology.
I would say I would recommend any book by Stephen Forrest, the astrologer. He's a really, really experienced astrologer. He writes clearly. He writes really well. And that's what I would recommend.
Okay. My daughter's here, Nicole Perez. Hey, baby.
Hi there.
She gave a donation too. She's always very generous. She's like her mama. We don't got no sense. So I'm the type who tips half the bill, you know. It's like, why are you giving 50%? So anyway, you've been gone for a little while. We really missed you.
Oh, well, yeah. Sorry, everybody. But I really appreciate that people would miss me.
Yeah, it's like everybody's saying, where's Andre?
Yeah, we've been in the middle.
What kind of trouble are you into?
It's just been this chaotic. We started to do some painting, and we underestimated how much chaos it was going to cause in the household because we didn't think it through around moving things around, and then now things are missing, and we're slowly putting it back together. But
what do you mean things are missing? Did things get stolen?
No. Just like when you're moving things, you put them in a box, then later, where did I put that thing? And then you're searching for that. It's crazy. So it's been a very turbulent week as a result of that. And
thank you, MK. Hey, Joe. Everybody's so excited to see you. So listen, Patricia Corn. I wish I could say hi, Ron. Thank you, Ron. Ron, unconditional love. He's the best. He kind of oversees and makes sure nobody's being mean. So when you were looking, if you can tell us, I don't know, if you were able to look at the Ukraine or even Zelensky, are you feeling a little bit more hopeful, or do you think this is going to get long and drawn out?
The thing with Ukraine and Zelensky is that first of all, when you draw in, because you always look at the context, right? So
Yeah.
when people are in Saturn years, the whole idea is, well, what's going around you? And as soon as the person says, well, I'm in a war, that's a problem. So right away, you know that for Zelensky, it's unstable and difficult till next spring. That's it from where the Saturn is. The problem for Zelensky is that within that, right around the middle of this month and into the middle of next month is especially dangerous because he's got this other thing going on. I brought that up very early on. It's risky. I mean, I would say to the guy, if you're going to be in this, be in a very secure bunker. Don't take any chances.
Because Putin's already put out a whole bunch of assassinating. They're
Right.
trying to get to him.
Exactly. So, and the Ukraine, by the way, the chart for the Ukraine has a kind of a similar signature that extends, so that, I mean, there were some people that I was seeing on my channel saying, oh, well, Saturn on the beginning of April is going to stop him and then everything will go back to normal. I don't know about that. I mean, yes, it stopped him some, yes, but no, I mean, and that runs counter to common sense. Putin can't walk away from this now. He can't,
Well, the thing is, may I say, God forbid, and this is for entertainment purposes only, if anything happens to him, if he is killed by Russians, which they'll say it wasn't them.
Oh, of course.
It will be worse for Putin.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it'll be worse for the world. It'll be terrible. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Lindsay. Lindsay's here.
Hmm.
So, but listen, okay, so it'll be worse. It'll be worse for Putin. I do see Putin going down. I'm going to tell you right now, he's going down. But if he, like this thing that's coming up, I think is actually going to matter. Crimes against the human, what they're doing. They're raping women and killing people. That's crime against humanity.
Yeah, it's very bad. And what you see that Putin is ensnared in, that is very ironic, but kind of sick at the same time, is, and you see this in his chart, this is the Neptune effect in his chart. He always banks on disinforming. He creates mirages. This is Trump's favorite trick too. He'll tell you, look, the sky is green. Why? Because I say so. And they'll go, yeah, it's green. and this is how Putin operates. But now what's curious is this whole war, it's been turned on him. Biden's trick was to throw it all out there. So he was telling people, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. Russia always banks on the mystery, the misinforming. So now with all the cell phones around, all the images going around the world, the propaganda is against them, right? So it's very, very hard to come off well when that's going on. Well, especially because he's not winning the war. And from what I hear, historically, Russia always does this thing where when they lose a war, they bounce the president because it's just how they operate, right? They've got this thing. So when I look at that and I look at the chart, and this chart is not, any astrologer would have told them, don't do this. It's very bad timing. The time to have done it was back in 2016, right? But that's the thing.
Was in office, yeah.
Yeah, no, right there. No, at Putin's chart then, if Putin walks into Ukraine, then people would have said, oh, well, it's his business. And not now. Now it's, what he did is, he did it at a moment when he had a fast-moving Jupiter transit, which gives you a sense of, I'm going to expand and everything will be fine. But he wasn't looking at the trailing planets are all against him, right? Creating maladjustments. And I still think, too, that it's very possible there's something wrong with his health because there are so many health aspects in his chart that I wouldn't be surprised if, that puffy thing, maybe he's taking steroids or something is going on.
Cancer, so I don't know. But
yeah, maybe. And then the thing is, people underestimate when you're taking strong medicines, especially steroids, you can get really aggressive. And so then you start to
cray.
Yeah. So
whenever I used to have to take, I had asthma real bad when I was pregnant with all my kids. I used to, when they gave me a lot of steroids, I used to paint the house and stuff. change the tires on the car.
Yeah, I know.
Big old ass pregnant out there changing tires on a car. I'll take care of it.
Yeah, that's about it. That's
Go
about
make
it.
me a sandwich.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, we're praying very hard for them. I'm not getting as horrible a feeling as I got about Zelensky when it first started, but I'm scared for him. I am scared for him.
Yeah, the thing is,
you can't destroy Zelensky. He's going to have statues of himself all over the place. He will be the hero, and that'll, unfortunately for Putin, he messed with the wrong guy.
It's true.
Thank you, Dr. Nancy Living.
It's true. Yeah, and by the way, I brought up the danger. I sincerely hope he gets through. And I did say in one of my videos, it is important to send someone who is in, danger, send them energy, because it helps. That transcends the idea of saying, this person's fate, whatever. The energy is something that transcends everything, and you can change a person's protection level. You can change things. And so people sending him good energy, meanwhile, you can have a doll of Putin and put a lot of pins in it, and do the thing.
Well, obviously, he doesn't have a good astrologer.
No.
You think that's true, that they're actually afraid to tell him the truth?
I do. Yeah, because this is the classic people that are lean this way. Trump is the exact same way. As time passes, they get more and more into their head, and they don't like being told this is not the way. They want to shape reality to whatever they want. So when you give them a contrary message, they get angry. Yeah. So I totally believe it. Also, throw in the fact that he got COVID, he got paranoid, he was isolated. All these things, add to the problem. So I do think so. Yes.
So so we'll pray for Zelensky for sure. I heard he was on. Somebody said he was on the Emmys last night. I didn't know that. Yeah,
I didn't know that either.
Statement. I'll have to look it up. Mm-hmm. Hey, Heart and Soul Connected. Hey, you guys. So anyway, yeah, we got almost 1,500 people in the house here.
Oh, excellent.
So did you ever look at Jared?
At who?
Jared Kushner.
Oh, I know that his chat in my head.
State Farm, Jared Kushner.
Yeah, the thing with him is he's got, first of all, I don't know his time, which takes away an important element, very important element when you're trying to be really precise. But this year is difficult for him. My sense isn't, though, that he would be one of the people that would get into the biggest trouble. I don't get that sense. I don't know if you do. My sense is just more, if anything, Kushner is probably dangerous to Trump because he is more conventional. And so he went and talked to the committee. And what are the odds that he spent several hours at the committee and he didn't say one or two things that kind of painted Trump in the wrong corner? Well, partly is because Trump, it's almost impossible. If you're around the guy, you're going to say something. Oh, yeah, that was that criminal thing that he did, because he's doing criminal things every 5 minutes. So it's so I think
I almost feel like he wasn't putting any heat on Trump. I felt like he was truthfully the book that, by the way, Zelensky was on the Grammys. I said the wrong thing. He was on the Grammys. I think that he was trying to take the pressure off Trump and talking about, because I read this in that book that Robert Woodward did called Peril, that it was what's his name? Rudy Giuliani that went in there with, I'm telling you right now, I've got 1,000 pages of dead people who voted, which he never showed, and it wasn't for real. And it's this and it's that. And then the Rottweiler came in there, Susan, whatever, or Sidney Powell. And between the two of them, it was a conspiracy, and Trump just, he just couldn't let it go. And so they tried to talk Trump out of it, but he wasn't going to let it go. They were telling him. So I think this is my hit. I think at the end of the day, when we find out what was said, it'll be him talking about the other ones who jumped in with Trump and tried to make things happen.
That Jared would say that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, except that
throwing Trump under the bus. I see him talking about others.
Yeah, except that the problem with that is the committee keeps trying to put all the threads together. And the problem is, I also read accounts that showed that Trump was in on a lot of it. He was
Oh,
behind the scene. So what if there are 6, the Kraken lady and 7 other nut jobs? They're all doing their thing. But then if Trump is
he's
also,
the leader of the band.
yeah, exactly. So I mean,
Yeah, he's the one that had the good old boys or the power boys or whatever you call them.
yeah,
He had a
exactly.
meeting that they even came to Washington, to the Capitol, to the White House to visit him. He had meetings with them.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Which leads us into the next question, because we haven't heard your opinion yet. What about Justice Thomas and Ginny Thomas? Did you happen to take a glance?
Okay, so again, 2 charts with no time, but the Ginny's chart looks much worse than Clarence's chart.
Oh my!
So,
say it's not so. I do think I'll be faint.
Was that your hope?
I'm so happy to hear that. But what did you see?
Just that she's got extended like the rest of the year and into next year. It's complicated because pressure, pressure planets. Like even without a time, you can see multiple planets. It's the kind of thing where when you see planets like that, if a person is normal, not like her, because she's clearly not normal, a normal person would say, it's gotten harder. I've got more responsibilities, more problems. Maybe I have my leg hurts, or, something is going on. In her case, it's because of what she's done. She walks straight into it, and then that becomes the theme, right? And it was pretty obvious that she was working the back door during the insurrection. And I'm actually hoping Clarence Thomas that through his time of birth, there are problems for him too, because it's really outrageous that he was the dissenter, which, by the way, think about that. Think about how ignorant that is, but I mean like self-destructive, because if you know that there are documents your wife was involved with that are going to reveal something, and then the Supreme Court casts a judgment and you're the only dissenter, why would you do that? That's the time when you don't dissent. Go along with the rest so that then people could say, well, he is being...
Exactly.
He deliberately went in there and said, I'm going to oppose this. Well, why would you oppose it? Because you were hiding your wife's documents. It's not very smart. So what I have to say about Clarence is probably the dumbest of the Supreme Court judges. He has to be, because that's a really, really inappropriate choice. It's not strategic.
He could have even given himself a cover. Yeah.
Yeah, all he had to do, because what is your dissent vote for? What are you doing it for? It doesn't mean anything, right?
But can I ask you, do you see his health isn't so good?
That I can't tell with what I've got. It'd be really...
I feel his health isn't good.
Well, he was in the hospital. So
yeah, and he was in the hospital for over a week, and he's still not working at the Supreme Court. He's on the telephone.
Yeah, so it's possible. Let's just say that it's possible.
Probably his wife talking in his voice, doing things, because he doesn't want to leave no matter what. As sick as he is, he doesn't want to leave till he thinks Biden's out of office.
Well, okay, so you see, with just what I have of his chart, where it does get a lot more complicated for him, potentially health-wise too, is post the next election, but it's not right away. Like the planets, it's the Saturn cycle. For some, he's got early planets in Cancer. It takes longer to get there. So
I got a weird hit, and I know you read on Justice Roberts. I think you did.
I don't think I did.
Oh, no. Okay. I thought for sure you did. I got a weird hit that Justice Roberts is under so much pressure because, the Supreme Court's numbers have gone straight downhill. If they were a show, they'd be canceled. And I just feel like he can't work with anybody, especially Thomas, who thinks he's king for the day. And I really feel Justice Roberts, and I could be wrong, because I can't tell you this was an actual hit from my guides. It was like all of a sudden I saw it, but I don't know if it's me hoping for it. But I will tell you, I almost feel like Roberts is saying, you know what, I'm out of here. And really? Even giving his resignation paper to Biden, and then Biden can replace him. Oh my God, because, he's tired of dealing with the prima donnas. His health might even be compromised. And he says, I'm out of here. I'm not going to wait for a Republican. I'm leaving now. If he leaves, he'll basically say, throw his nose up at everybody else that gave him all this bad time.
Well, here's what I know about Roberts. I don't know. He's another one that I have no time for, but just with the day chart, between mid-May and mid-June is really crucial in there because there's a lot of pressure on his chart. So that's possible. Yeah, it's possible.
I don't know why I got that feeling, but I felt everybody was shocked.
Yeah, by the way, it's a great example. Roberts is an Aquarius, so he's in the same pattern as Zelensky. These years are very stressful, 21, 22, because Saturn is in his sign. So then Saturn reveals all the structural problems, people like Clarence Thomas, then he had Gorsuch wouldn't wear the mask. I mean, it's really asinine. He's supposed to be the Chief Justice, but I don't think he has a lot of power. I don't think he's allowed to. He can't tell Clarence
Now
Thomas.
they're saying that he needs to come up with a game plan about how these justices need to, look at the moral obligations and when to rescind and all this. They've got their nose up at him. And he can't do anything. So I think, basically, honest to God, part of it is he's exhausted. The other part of he's saying F you to the people that are in there now.
It's possible.
If you guys don't want to work with me, guess what? I'm going to leave and I'll let Biden choose who's coming.
It is possible because one of the things I do with charts is you look at a chart and you look for some alignment that it's what the whole chart pivots on and that brings the most stress, right? And it turns out he's got that thing in his chart where this year is really intense. He's definitely, so you're totally right. Your hit is correct that he's under a lot of pressure. Yes. And it could be that alignment is linked to his health, in which case he's not feeling good. And then that multiplies. Right. Yeah.
And it might even be that he just, he just can't take it anymore. He worries about how the unlike others, he worries about how people respect the Supreme Court. And now they're becoming a laughingstock.
Rightfully so. Although the only thing would be that if he does leave, who are they going to make Chief Justice? I don't even want to think about that. That's a scary
no, but they don't choose from inside. They choose from outside.
Who chooses?
Justice Roberts was in a Supreme Court, right? They picked him from the outside.
Right, but who decides who will be the Chief Justice?
President.
Really? So the president could pick a new.
Guys?
I'm not. That's an interesting question.
That's an interesting. I thought that. Anybody know? Yeah, Andre has done Merrick Garland. We'll talk about that in a second. Who picks Chief Justice?
The president. It says the president. Okay, so then, but okay, you do realize that if he were to leave, that would be such a deadly blow to the conservative movement because he's doing a double blow in that then the president could pick, I don't know, he could make Ketanji Jackson the
Right.
Wouldn't that be ironic?
Yeah. I saw Brown being able, I saw Justice Brown. I saw her getting in.
Oh no, that's a given. They can't stop.
Thank you, because they were saying that they were divided in something. I saw Ted Cruz with his big child pornography sign. Of course, nobody's talking about what's his name, the one who said they have orgy parties.
Oh I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, the guy. Nobody's talking about that.
Yeah, no.
He was telling the truth.
I'm of course, but that's the thing. Why would they be angry unless he was telling the truth? Right. But then you also say to yourself, this is the level of political intelligence that the GOP is currently displaying. Because why would you be on a team and expose your friends that way? It's very embarrassing. Then you start reading articles. Well, the voters don't want to be reading about orgies and this and that. Of course, it looks bad. Of course.
Oh, yeah, they're mad at him. They're going to kick him out. I'm telling you, he's not getting back in. Somebody said that Thomas is second in line. No, because Roberts came in when Thomas was in. Roberts was chosen by the president. So it's got nothing to do with who's in line. The Chief Justice is somebody different, somebody from the outside. Yep, Chief Justice are nominated by the president, confirmed by the Senate. Thank you very much, Renee.
Right, right. Although good luck with confirming, to get confirmation in the
Oh, they're
Senate.
going to fight tooth and nail, but let me tell you something. They're going to be, and you know what? You can look at the charts, but I feel they're going to be really surprised how many seats we win as in the Senate.
Well, I mean, look, what you and I have been talking about, I mean, it really is going to get put to the test in November because it's really very simple. If the Democrats hold on to the two chambers, there is so much trouble coming for all these guys, Trump
Right.
especially. And the thing is, what makes me suspicious is that Trump's chart is much worse in 2023. Why would it be? Why? You just see it coming. But that would make perfect sense because then he's got no cover, none, right? One of the things they're saying now is that he's backing all these candidates over the next 3 or 4 months. And even before next year, he could lose a lot of mojo because if those candidates don't do well, they fall out, then he's looking like he has no power, right?
It's funny you said that. They were talking about this morning on MSNBC.
Exactly.
If
Yeah.
he loses these other things that are going on,
Yeah.
he has no. Well, they know in 2016 he lost most of them. One senator they got an extra seat. They said that was the foulest mood he was ever in.
Yeah.
He won one seat after he went state to state. If you don't vote for me, they're going to impeach me. And it's unprecedented. If the Democrats can actually hold on and win seats, is considering it's a president. The norm is that somebody else, and that's how they're acting. Oh, well, we've got this. Because the norm is whenever a Democrat comes in, Republicans take over, vice versa.
Yeah, well, that's the norm, but we're in really abnormal times because one of the parties, but like what they've done is they cultivated all the nut jobs, and now it's like literally this is that that joke that goes the inmates are running the asylum. That's what's going on. I mean, they've got all these people. They can't upset them. They can't tell them, no, the sun rises in the east. It doesn't rise in the west. That's how it is. Oh no, that's not true because John F. Kennedy's coming back and he's got all that stuff. And you can't say anything because then they get upset.
Oh,
and
I know.
It's highly delusional. I heard a lady say, how did she put it? They were asking about Trump. Well, they were saying, well, what happens if, because they were saying Trump was going to be reinstated in March.
Yeah.
So then they asked the lady, well, what happens if on, March, whatever it was, Biden is still president? She looked in the camera and she thought for a few seconds and she said, well, that just means that Trump has a different plan. So in other words, what you've got here is people that are completely in the tank. It's QAnon, +1, but they're the voters, right? They're the ones that vote for you. So you can't say to them, okay, you're all lunatics. How about getting it together and start, thinking
and there's
straight?
People who live and die by him. But let me tell you, he's going to be a goner, like I've been saying for years, as fast and as quick as Joseph McCarthy. People are not going to like the smell in the room.
No, but that's the thing, though. While that's happening, what's frustrating is that if you're spotting it as it's falling apart, you can say that, but people's perception is, well, he gets away with everything. He always gets away with everything. Yeah, but slowly he's getting away with less. He's getting away with less, and then it was like McCarthy, right? McCarthy was king of the world, and then that thing came in all of a sudden one day, and then boom, he went straight down. But for quite a while, people thought he was almost running the government,
right. And they were even laughing this morning. They were saying, he's talking about, so he's going to these places and he's representing, he even likes the gal from Alaska now. He said she's going to lose. And blah, blah. Remember, they said she used to be somebody. They said that Heidi or whatever her name is, what is her name? Everybody thought she might be the vice president.
The one from Iowa, Heidi.
No, the one from
the one from over here, from Iowa or from.
Anyway, she was down in the polls.
Not from Iowa, from Idaho.
She was down in the polls, and Sarah Palin gave her a thumbs up. She went through the roof and she won. But Sarah Palin doesn't have that power anymore.
Is she running against Trump? Is she running against?
There's like 53 people running.
Oh, wow.
Sarah Palin is.
against Murkowski.
But they were saying this morning, he's got this bank, right? Millions of dollars, more than the Republican and more than the Democrats. He hasn't put out a dime towards any of these people.
Well, he needs it. He needs it. He needs it for his legal bills, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
what do you want to talk about before we close up? Look at that, over 2,000 in the room.
Oh, nice. Hello, everyone. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Should you tell your life story? Put us to sleep? No. Sorry.
My life story will put you to sleep. Is that so?
I always say that. Let me tell you my life story. Grab a pillow. Let me put you to sleep. Okay. So anything that you've noticed in the chart, something you can kind of give us a heads up? You don't, for entertainment purposes only, but.
Well, the only thing I'd say is that if you're one of the fixed signs, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, especially if you're born near the end of the sign, just be patient and wait it out till next spring. I mean, it's a while, so you have to be patient because there's more pressure. That's why a lot of these figures that we're talking about, Justice Roberts or Zelensky, Ukraine, you start to see that pattern emerge, right? And then there's this other thing, which is great for the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The switch of Jupiter in mid-May is really good for those signs. So
good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good because Jupiter raises the energy, raises spirits, raises.
It's Aries and who else?
Aries, Leo, Sagittarius.
Oh, good. My daughter needs a hit.
Yeah. Although, now, of course.
What about that? Like somebody like a Virgo like me? Any good news?
Virgo. Well, the thing with Virgo would be that until May, until that switch. So, but that's not long, right? We're talking
less than 3 weeks.
Less than 3 weeks. There's just more of a Virgo's in a period where there's an urge to expand and do bigger things, but you have to be careful because you could do the Putin thing where you expand into a place you shouldn't be expanding into. So
how about if you expand your belly and you can't fit in your pants no more?
No, that's exactly it. You just said it. That's what Jupiter, when Jupiter's on the other side. So Jupiter's indulgent, starts to eat more party, more fun, and then
right.
you put on exactly. So it just says try to wait it out for another month, for the changing energy because it'll improve at that point.
Right. Yeah. And what sign were you, Andre?
Capricorn.
Oh, how are they doing?
Well, it's mixed. Depends on which Capricorn. I mean, there are Capricorns that I think, great, and then there's Ted Cruz, and I mean, he completely. As soon as you say, "What, you're the same sign as that guy," it's horrible. I prefer more if someone associates me to Benjamin Franklin, who was a Capricorn and was more of a well-liked figure, or even Martin Luther King was another Capricorn.
Yeah.
So, but it varies. But yeah, no, it depends too with Capricorn. If you're near the end of the sign, then there's a lot of change happening. Big things are changing. But if you're at the beginning of the sign or in the middle, there's less activity, it's less dominant at the moment. So this is the thing with astrology is you got to know with a little more precision where things are so you can peg it a little more accurately.
So, I see people do all the signs and a monthly astrologers. Mm-hmm. Just what you said just here. Tell me, you guys, if you agree, hands up. I think you should do in the beginning of the month just a quick overlay, Aries, Taurus, and just your own little story on each sign. I don't know if that would be too hard for you, but I would love just what you said about Virgo. I was happy to hear.
Yeah, I could do something like that. The reason I haven't is that I'm always reluctant to put out stuff that I know
depends on the time of birth and all that.
No, yeah, because you see, when you say something like you take what I just said to you, right? Jupiter opposite your sun sign would be a warning. Be careful with overindulgence. But another person who is Virgo, who has some other thing that really counters that, they will not experience that at all. They'll experience possibly even the opposite. They might be even extra disciplined. And then they'll think this astrology stuff is for the birds because, this person is putting it out.
Well,
You put everybody in 12 boxes. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, thanks for the advice, because in a way it becomes a challenge for me to do something that is still useful and that I can put out. And it's probably a good idea at the beginning of the month to say,
people would love anybody can just. I used to be the type to open the newspaper and just look, even though it's terrible and it's just too general. You still like to see a little look. They give, the one I like is Susan Miller. She has a monthly. She does, and Georgia Nichols. She has, and it's not always true, but it's still fun.
It's still fun. Yeah. No, well, that's the whole trick, is how to do something that is at least mostly true, or
Yeah.
that you can.
What's the influence, and then they can look up their rising too. What's my rising? Is it Libra or Leo? I can't remember.
Libra, but you have a lot of strength in Leo.
Okay, that's
why for you the aspect of being on camera, and you just say, yeah, that's what I do. Yeah. Leo. I mean,
Leos are known for a lot of hair and a big head.
Well, not every Leo. See, that's what I mean. Can you imagine? Imagine if I went and I did a thing at the beginning of the month and said, well, these Leos with their big head and
they have a big mane, we run this there.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, it was wonderful talking to you. You guys, thanks for showing up. We had over 2,000 people here, 2,166.
Excellent. Yeah, that was fun.
And it's kind of cool. This is called StreamYard. It was very easy to use, and I would be on your show in a New York minute if you started up. And it connects to YouTube.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've actually used it before.
Oh yeah.
But I'll set it up. We definitely should do another one. And
yes, I'd be happy. We got a lot of readers out here. We need to start having on your show too.
Excellent. Yeah, I look forward to that.
I could say enough about you. What about me?
Well, people really liked it when you were on my channel. I'll tell you that.
Oh, thanks.
Got a lot of comments and a lot of viewership. So thank you for coming on my channel. I really appreciate it.
Sure. I enjoyed it. Thank you, you guys. So we'll head out. I've got a lot to do. I got to go to the dog store. I haven't been out of the house yet. I have to get the money for tomorrow for my lady that comes in. So I'll talk to you guys. Talk to you later.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, you guys.